Democrats have been very angry at their leaders like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries in the House for not showing enough fight to bring opposition to Trump's policies and how Trump has reshaped the U.S. government. And Republicans, they're eager to blame this on Democrats and say Democrats should not be allowed back in power in the midterm elections because they can't even keep the lights on.
The United States government is said to be hurtling towards a shutdown, with Republicans and Democrats so far failing to agree on a spending bill. Republicans are pushing for a short-term extension of the current spending levels, while the Democrats want an agreement to renew government health insurance subsidies for low-income individuals. The last time the US government shut down was during President Trump's first term and set a record for being the longest in American history, lasting 35 days. Let's talk to Daniel Lippman, White House and Washington, D.C. reporter for Politico. Good evening to you, Daniel.
Thanks for having me.
There is a deadline of October the 1st, which in the United States is, well, just a few hours away. Is there the realistic prospect of another US government shutdown?
I think it's very likely right now because it's in both sides' political interest to have this, at least in the short term. Democrats have been very angry at their leaders like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries in the House for not showing enough fight to bring opposition to Trump's policies and how Trump has reshaped the U.S. government. And Republicans, they're eager to blame this on Democrats and say Democrats should not be allowed back in power in the midterm elections because they can't even keep the lights on.
So this is about the overall government budget, is it? I mean, it's such a different system to the one we have here in the UK, where, I mean, the first thing that a government does is try to make sure that it's got to get its overall economic plans through. But it seems as though this is almost an annual battle.
Yeah, it's been since the Obama administration, it's become very political. And it used to be that people would at least keep the lights on in the government, but now even that is a challenge. And so you have to wonder about the quality of the members of Congress when these are people who this is kind of the best job they could ever get. At their $185,000 salary. And so and a lot of their time revolves around staying in their job by raising millions of dollars, not actually doing policy and not even compromising with the other side. And so we didn't see any shouting matches in the Oval Office yesterday with Trump and the Democrats, but it was a tense scene.
And if we do get to a US government shutdown, I mean, this does literally mean government offices shutting down, government buildings and public buildings, libraries, national monuments and so on.
Yeah, although this time what's interesting is that Republicans who are in control of both the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they're going to try to make this as pain-free as possible because they don't want to get some of the blame. And so they're going to let people still visit national parks. The Smithsonian may still stay open. What Democrats are worried about is that they're going to use this as an opportunity to get rid of tens of thousands of more federal workers just by mass firing them and not even bringing them back if there is a shutdown when they end that shutdown in a month or two. And so that is something that Democrats are concerned about because they have talked about the plight of federal workers, but they don't want to be seen as giving in to Trump and looking weak to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like President Trump is threatening these, what he calls mass irreversible firings. He just wants to use this as an excuse to get rid of an awful lot of workers off the federal payroll. I mean, is that something is that a threat that's being taken seriously?
I think it's being taken seriously, but Democrats are more concerned about how they could get hit politically if they blink. And they also say we can't necessarily trust the Trump administration because even if we did strike a deal, then how would we ensure that they would live up to their side of the bargain? So there's not a lot of trust here. And this may not actually affect how who wins the midterm elections next year because oftentimes people more vote on the economy, not based on a government shutdown the year before. But it still could last a very long time because both sides would not want to give in to the other. But maybe there could be a compromise struck eventually.
I'm looking at reports that votes are taking place now in the Senate. I mean, what are they voting on, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm trying to tracking that. I've been talking to you, so I can find out exactly. I'm not on the Senate floor, so I would have to get back to you on that. But they're always until the government closes down. There's always going to be moderates in both sides, both parties, who try to make a deal and try to prevent this, and try to make a deal. This is all about Obamacare. You remember the Affordable Care Act, which extended public health care, or at least subsidies for private health care and health insurance to low-income, moderate-income Americans. And so Republicans have always been against this, and it's a battle that they're still fighting on a decade in.
Daniel Lippman, White House and Washington, D.C. reporter for Politico. Great to talk to you. Thanks so much.
The U.S. government shut down much of its operations on Wednesday as deep partisan divisions prevented Congress and the White House from reaching a funding deal. That sets off what could be a long, grueling standoff that could lead to the loss of thousands of federal jobs. The 15th government shutdown since 1981 commenced hours after the Senate rejected a short-term spending measure that would have kept government operations afloat through November 21st. Democrats opposed the legislation due to Republicans' refusal to attach an extension of health benefits for millions of Americans that are due to expire at the end of the year. Republicans say the issue must be addressed separately. There was no clear path out of the impasse, which agencies warned would halt the release of a closely watched September employment report, slow air travel, suspend scientific research, and withhold pay from U.S. troops. It will also lead to the furlough of 750,000 federal workers at a daily cost of $400 million. Democrats are under pressure from their frustrated supporters to score a rare victory ahead of the 2026 midterm elections that will determine control of Congress for the final 2 years of Trump's term. The healthcare push has given them a chance to unite behind an issue that resonates with voters. Along with the extended health subsidies, Democrats have also sought to ensure that Trump will not be able to undo those changes if they are signed into law.
I don't know, we'll probably have a shutdown.
Trump has refused to spend billions of dollars approved by Congress, prompting some Democrats to question why they should vote for any spending legislation at all. Independent analysts warn the shutdown could last longer than the budget-related closures of the past. Trump and White House officials have threatened to punish Democrats with cuts to government programs and the federal payroll. Last week, Trump's budget director threatened permanent layoffs in the event of a shutdown.